All right, so about to drop the motor in. We're just replacing the shift linkage with the LOJ kit. It does say to remove the linkage, they want you to bend the bracket off the U-joint. I'm just gonna cut it, so I'm just using this saw that I have here. We're gonna make a cut all the way through, then we're gonna take this off, then we're gonna follow the instructions and put it in the car. So after you get it off, you gotta make sure you don't want to damage the cap. So if you could see, the cap does come off with the needle bearings inside. So when you do take the linkage off, make sure none of the needle bearings fall out. Make sure the cap is still in place. When you take it off, it should be like that. And then we're gonna take this side off. As you can see, it's coming with the cap. So we're just gonna hold this back and just give it a little soft tap while prying this back to get this other piece of the linkage off of the cap. Once you get that off, this comes in two pieces. This will go right on one cap. We're gonna clean that up with a little Scotch-Brite. This side goes on this side. Comes with two bolts, one on this side, one on this side. It bolts together. And then from there, your linkage goes on this end. So just, be careful. Do not let any of the needle bearings fall out. Don't lose them. If you do lose them, you will be replacing the whole universal joint. So just take your time, be gentle, and it'll come apart for you. All right, so this is pretty much how your base should look. Like I said, we serviced the rack in the other previous video. We got the rack serviced. That's a perfect time to service your rack, replace the rack bushings. We did take out the harness. We did take out the harness. You do have to remove the evaporator and the blower motor. And then once you do that, there'll be a little silver plate. Once you remove that silver plate, the harness just pulls right through. The 4 dash is intact in the vehicle still. So you do not have to remove your dashboard at all. Not even a little bit, just your glove box, your blower motor, your evaporator, and she comes right out. You do have to disconnect this AC line so you could pull it out. And as far as rigging, we did buy the plate from, what is it, like 25 bucks from Amazon, 20-30 bucks on Amazon. So we got the lifting plate. It comes with a few lifting options that you prefer. We're just gonna pick it dead center. If we need to readjust. Leave these loose for adjustment. No headers, because I think the current headers we do have hits the steering column, so no headers. The shifting plate is on tight, so we're all good there. So we're all ready. Like I said, drain tranny, which would have drained on you once you removed it from the motor anyway. So tranny's drained, engine is all ready to go. You do have to take off the intake mani to put this lifting plate on. It's not really a big problem. Just take off the valley pan. It comes with bolts, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna drop it in now, and then from there we'll continue, see how this goes. All right, after a little bit of up and down, back and forth, the motor's in. I highly recommend loosening the bolts for the subframe going across, and drop the cross member. Sorry, not subframe, drop the cross member, because the rack and pinion does get in the way. So it's a very tight clearance with the LOJ oil pan. So just drop the cross member down, take it off the nuts, just let it fall down, let it hang, and then that'll give you clearance for the rack and pinion and oil pan. As you can see, it's very, very, very close. So you need to just take these. That's one nut there, one on the next side right there. You take those two out. There's two on the opposite side. It drops right down, give you the clearance you need. This is in, and we're gonna throw up the transmission mount, and that's pretty much it. All right, so once you put it up, this is what it should look like. The curve goes to the rear of the vehicle. You put the plate, you put the mount, They give you elongated holes for adjusting. You will not be using your OEM transmission mount bracket anymore. You'll now be using this one. So it comes with bolts and everything. Unfortunately, I don't know why they made it like that, but you don't use this third hole, but you use these two. You use those three over there, and that's pretty much it. Now she's in, the mounts is tight. We can start worrying about plumbing the exhaust, how we're gonna run it, what headers we're gonna run, so forth. The slave is up, so that's everything. All right, what's going on, guys? So we're putting in the accessories now. We got the new water pump, power steering bracket, depending if you're running the Z32 power steering pump or the LS power steering pump. Right now we're putting in the alternator. As you can see, it comes with a kit, a couple instructions on how to install it. You're gonna need a new bracket. So this is the bracket. This is the bracket from ICT. This bracket will sit here, and then it will sit basically like this. The idler pulley goes to the top. Like I said, the instructions kind of give you a rundown, but we do, before anything, have to put a hole. As you can see, let me get close. Right here on the block, that's where you're going. So when the alternator sits up, it should be somewhat like this. And then you mount into the block. You do have to drill a hole. You're gonna step bit it up. So you're gonna start with, a smaller bit, work your way up. Don't just jump straight for the bit that you need. It will be a M10 by 1.5 hole. That's the tread pitch and size of this bolt. So if you don't have a M10 by 1.5 tap, get your hands on a set, starter tap, bottom and tap, just so you could tap the hole all the way to the back, get your treads all the way. Or you can cut your tap. You could use your starter tap to start, but once the tap bottoms out, then you take the tap out. You could cut the tap, cut a little piece off the tap, make sure it's a nice straight cut. Then you could tap it all the way and turn it into a bottom and tap. You guys, know your difference between bottom and flute taps. And water pump, here it is. It changes for where your radiator hose connects. So this one is sitting more to the front. The previous one sat on the top on like a 45 degree, 30 degree angle. So this one comes straight out the front. This just a direct bolt on. That's a direct bolt on. And so we're gonna put that on. We want to get the accessories on because you have to relocate the oil filter with this oil pan that we're running. So I'm thinking somewhere here. I just want to see my clearances, what we're working with. You're only gonna go to depth about this much because again, it comes with a spacer, and then you also have to account for the somewhat thickness. It's a sunk hole, but you could kind of see the thickness right there. So you gotta kind of, gauge for that, because that has to go on as well. So once you put all that up, it's really not that far into the block you're going. There's no like water jacket here or oil galley here, so you're just gonna come straight in about 1 inch. You could maybe go 3/4 of an inch when you account for all the thickness of everything. All right, so when you're done, after you drilled it, tapped it, it's basically what it should be now. So now that's one alternator bolt. That's your second one down here. Put on the bracket, cleaned up for the water pump. That's all good. All right, so after installing everything, I noticed a little issue. As you can see, this pulley is further behind this pulley. Is just for the reference of the distance. Now, you see that spacer? There's one on the top and there's one to the bottom of the alternator. Those came in the kit, but it doesn't line up with this first groove or the crank pulley. So what we're gonna do is just make our own spaces to make up for the difference and bring it flush with the crank pulley, because the water pump pulley lines up perfectly. So the water pump pulley is perfect. This tension pulley is still perfect back here, but this alternator pulley is not. So I'm gonna just make a custom bracket spacer and just bring it forward so it's flush. So I'm not sure if you guys are gonna have this issue, but that's how we're gonna fix it. All right, so I remember telling you guys I had a little issue with the alternator. So the problem was it came with these spacers, but these spacers were shorter and it no longer was in line with the crank pulley. So what we did was we made our own spacers. You could use conduit, whatever. We got it to where we wanted, but we didn't get anyone. We couldn't find anywhere to find bolts long enough to go from the front of this bracket all the way into the block. So what we did, we got stud, threaded rod, all thread, whatever you guys want to call it. And we sunk it all the way into the block in both holes, slid on the spacers, slid on the alternator, put this bracket on because the idler pulley will go right here in this hole. This hole is for other blocks, maybe 6.0s. I'm not sure, but based on the instructions, there is no way to mount this hole. But this is for your idler pulley. Now that we got it in, tightened, all that stuff, I'm just gonna cut right here, and that's it. So I don't know, maybe you guys might find a different way to do it, but that's how we got it in. It's kind of hard, but you can see it. It's almost basically, I don't have a straight edge right now, but it's basically in line. Before, this pulley was about right in line with this smooth part. So all we did was just make this, I think 3/4 of an inch longer from the original spacer length that they gave us. And now we're perfectly in line. It's clearance all around. And she's looking good. And then next we're gonna figure out the power steering pump, and then headers is next, which we kind of have a couple ideas for the headers, so we'll see how that goes. All right.